بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us and helps us to understand His deen. In our session of Living Islam today, it so happened that one of my very good friends from Australia, from Perth, Maulana Puran Mehtar, he sent me a set of questions that people have asked him there. And he said, can you please answer these for us? And all of them relate to living Islam. So I thought, let me do a class on that. So it helps us and it helps them because the questions are very common. So I'm going to read out the questions and then inshallah we'll talk about them and how it is to be seen and interpreted. The question, the first one was, in your view, what does it mean to be a Muslim in this day and age? He says, in your view, what does it mean to be a Muslim in our times today, in this day and age? What are some of the responsibilities and opportunities for us over the next 5 to 10 years? That's the first question. Second question is, as Muslims, we understand that the ultimate success is entry into Jannah. But there are also other forms of success. I want you to listen to the question very carefully. He says that as Muslims we understand that the ultimate success is entry into Jannah, but there are also other forms of success in this world, if you will. There's success in this world, such as financial success, political success, lifestyle success. Does worldly success bring happiness? Is it allowed? And then he asked, can you elaborate, and so on and so on. And finally he says that, third question, he says that an attitude which exists among our communities that I am a minority in Australia. So Australia, America, wherever. I am a minority in Australia. I am only one person. Therefore, I am too insignificant to do anything, to make an impact on society. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about this? And the whole last one he says is that we can see that the Quran provides guidance for us, but as a regular Muslim, regular person who doesn't understand Arabic, I have two options to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. One is go to internet videos or read a translation of the Quran. What are the pros and cons of this, and what message can you leave for those who are seeking success and happiness by the Quran? Now, I want you to think about these questions, and I'll come back to that. I'm not expecting you to remember all of these offhand like that. So I'll come back to them. I want to broadly contain all of these questions in 3 or 4 blocks of things which I think are very critical to understand. And these are, unfortunately, the basic fundamental causes of confusion in the minds of Muslims, and especially our youth. And sad to say, I mean, as a generation, I am personally not responsible for this because I never did that, but I'm saying that my generation and the generation before that, we take the responsibility of creating this confusion because of our own lack of understanding of what living in the world according to Islam means. So the first question is, what does it mean to be and live as a Muslim in this day and age, and therefore what are the responsibilities and opportunities? My answer is very simple. My answer is that the truth does not change. So question of day and age is frankly redundant and irrelevant. Whichever day, whichever age, whether it was the time of Rasulullah, whether it was 500 years from then, 1000 years from then, now we are 1400 plus years from then, whether it is 10,000 years from then, the day and age makes no difference. The message of Islam remains the same, and therefore the responsibility of the Muslim remains the same. Right? I want to separate the two things, responsibilities and opportunity. So the responsibility of the Muslim is independent of time and space. It is independent of day and age. It is the same responsibility that Rasulullah ﷺ taught us, and this responsibility continues and will continue until the last Muslim exists on the face of the planet. And what is that responsibility? That responsibility is where Allah said, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. Allah said, you are the best of people, and you have been selected and extracted for the benefit of people. So the fundamental responsibility of every Muslim, of every day, every time, every place is only one, which is to spread goodness around himself or herself wherever they might be. So whether we are talking to Muslims in Australia, we are talking to Muslims in America, we are talking to Muslims on the moon, we are talking to Muslims anywhere, you would say the same thing. Whether I'm talking now in 2019 or whether somebody sits in my place in 2000, if somebody is sitting in my place, God knows what, they will still have to say the same thing if they understand Islam, which is, what's the responsibility of the Muslim? To spread goodness around himself or herself wherever they might be, because Allah says, you have been extracted for the benefit of everyone, not only mankind, for everyone, especially mankind, linnas, but also everyone. The dalil from the hadith about this is Rasulullah ﷺ said that the best of you is the one who is the most beneficial of you. Khairun nas may yanfa'un nas. He said the best of the people, the best among the people is the one who is the most beneficial to the people. So this is as far as the responsibility is concerned. So to say that what is the message for Muslims in today's world? It is the same message that was there for Muslims at the time of Rasulullah, and it is the same message that will be for Muslims until the end of time, which is become beneficial for all of people around yourself. Now, what about opportunities? Opportunities will change. Opportunities will differ depending on time, on place, on your profession, on your resources, on your health, on your energy, on the money you have, and so on and so forth. So the opportunity to spread goodness around himself for a physician will be different from that of an engineer, will be different from that of a businessman, will be different from that of an academician, will be different from that of a theologian, will be different from that of a research scholar, will be different from that of a mother, will be different from that of a father, and so on and so forth. The opportunity, how will I spread goodness around me? This depends on who you are, depends on what resources you have, depends on what access you have, and so on and so forth. So what must I do? I must do the best that I can do in my situation. Right? It's a very, very simple thing. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us a religion which is pure, which is beautiful, which is simple. There's no complexity and there's no complication in Islam. Now, second one. He says that ultimate success is entry into Jannah. Right? We know this, we accept this. But there are also other forms of success. I'm repeating his words. But there are other forms of success. Now, how do we bring these two together? Now, this is, unfortunately, the root cause of confusion in the minds of Muslims, globally speaking, which is that they define success as many. Allah did not say success is many. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Allah said, everyone will taste death. Right? And then Allah said, your ujurakum yawm al-qiyamah. He said, your ajr, your reward will be given to you on the day of judgment. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defined. He said, وَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. The one who has been freed from the hellfire and who has been entered into Jannah, may Allah include all of us among that, فَقَدْ فَازَ. Only that person is successful. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. Allah said, this life of this world is deception. Now, this is what people have misunderstood. I won't say this caused confusion because the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not cause confusion. The kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies confusion. But we have, in our understanding of this, we have confused ourselves. So what is this? What is the ayat saying? The ayat is saying that what is success is entry into Jannah. So there's no confusion about that. Then what does this friend of mine, the person who asked this question, what does he mean by saying, but there are other successes also, political success, financial success, professional success, and so on and so forth. And therefore, what must I choose? So apparently, we are putting success, first of all, we have created this dichotomy, which is a completely artificial, false dichotomy. In terms of goals, one, enter Jannah, two, become the best scientist, become the best doctor, become the best physician, become the best engineer, become the best world leader. Two things, and apparently mutually exclusive. I can't get both. Why? Because innamal hayatud dunya illa mata'ul ghurur. So we say the life of this world is deception. So if I'm engaged in deception, how will I get Jannah? Now this is the root cause of the problem. So let me explain this to you and let me give you an example. There are three things I want you to keep in mind. Number one is the goal. Number two is our current position. And number three is the way to reach the goal. The three things. Imagine you are in a desert and you are lost. Right? You're lost. You have no clue where you are. So what do? You try and find a high point. Maybe it's some rock or maybe it's some hill or something. You try and find a high point, you climb on top of that, and then you look around and you try to see if you can spot something. Maybe it's a highway or maybe it's some light or something. And then you say, okay, let me go to that place. Either that is the highway, that's the place to get out, or somebody will be there who will help me. The ability to hold two positions simultaneously in your mind is called perspective. What are these two positions? Where I am now and where I want to go. This is called perspective. When you have perspective, you have direction. For example, if somebody phones me here and says, I want to get to ISWM. I know you are doing this lecture on living Islam. I want to come to the lecture. How do I get here? What do I ask him? Where are you now? Where are you now? Supposing the man says, I have no clue, I don't know where I am. Can you give directions? No. You cannot, it's impossible. You cannot give directions with one location point. You need two location points. So at best, what will you tell him? You say, okay, you don't know where you are, but ask somebody to take you to MGM, to Shaitan, and then from there, you will come to Ar-Rahman, ISWM. What is the opposite of MGM? ISWM. So you tell him, right? I mean, the point is two things. So now here, I want you to keep these two things in mind. One is, goal is what? Jannah. Where am I now? Dunya. What is the root? That root is called deen. So three words. Akhirah, dunya, in the middle is deen. What is deen? Deen is the roadmap. Deen is the roadmap. Deen is your Google, direction finder. Deen is the way to live in this dunya so that you can get to the akhirah you want. I'm going to repeat that. What is deen? Deen is not the opposite of dunya. Please, this is the problem. The problem is how we have interpreted this. And this is what has caused this enormous confusion in the minds of people, where they think it is dunya or deen. It is not dunya or deen. Deen is the roadmap. Deen is the way of living in this dunya so that we can get to Jannah. Dunya is our location, where I am now. Jannah is the location where I want to get to. How do I do that? What is that roadmap? It is Deen, it is Islam. If I follow this Deen, I will get to Jannah. If I do not follow this roadmap, I will be lost. I will not get to Jannah. Right? So now, if I am living in this world today and I say I want to get to Jannah, I am a teacher. What must I do? I must teach to the best of my ability. I must teach the right things. I must teach for the right reasons. I must do my work, two important things, with sincerity and with consistency. Short of death, I must show up. I don't care who is, what the weather is like. I don't care who is coming, who is not coming. My job is, the reason I'm saying this is what takes the stress out of your life. Believe me, you follow this, you will not lose any sleep over anything. You come there are 10,000 people, alhamdulillah. You come there are 10,000 malaika and you can't see any human beings, no problem, alhamdulillah. But instead of that, if you get focused on who is coming, what is happening, you are finished. You cannot do your work because you will get distracted, you will get dejected. So, sincerity, work first. What is sincerity as defined in Islam? Lillahi ta'ala faqat. So do your work, whatever the work is. I am a truck driver, what must I do? I drive sincerely. I am true to my job. And the second word is consistently. Sincerely, how many times? Every time. Every time. What happens if I mess up one time? Make istighfar, make tawbah. Repent, come back. No problem. But never lower the standard. The standard is what? Every time. It's not one time. It's not once in a week. No. Every time. I have given a commitment. What must I do? Fulfill the commitment. What's the confusion? The commitment can be anything. Very simple. I tell you I am going to meet you tomorrow at 6:45. At 6:45, I must be there. That's it. As I said, short of death. Unless there is some disaster, you broke your leg or you're in a hospital. I mean, other than that, under every normal circumstances, including sickness, you gave a commitment, show up. If you can't show up, ensure that you inform in advance and you tell the guy, my brother Ahmed, I'm sorry, I told you I'm going to meet you, I can't do that today. This is my situation. Okay. So the three locations. Akhirat is where I want to get to. Dunya is where I am. And Deen is the way to get to that Akhirat. And how is the Deen to interpret it? Any profession, anything that I do in my life. I'm not even going to say halal because that is understood. A Muslim is not supposed to do something which is haram. So if you are doing something which is haram, it is not getting you to Jannah, so forget it, leave it. So every profession of ours which is halal, alhamdulillah, do that to the best of your ability. So now if you understand it like this, political success, does it come in the way of Jannah? No, it is the way to attain Jannah. What about my success as an engineer? Does it come in the way of Jannah? No, that is the way to attain Jannah. What is my business as a businessman? Is it something which will come in the way of Jannah? No, that is the way to attain Jannah. Right? There is no conflict. There is no conflict. There is no conflict. So this person also said, how about I just sit and read Quran 24/7? I do nothing. I just sit and read the Quran 24/7. It's a hypothetical question, but what about that? If I choose that I am going to do nothing but read the Quran 24/7. So I said to him, it is not haram, but it is not the Sunnah. It's not the Sunnah. It is not the Sunnah of Rasulullah. It is not the Sunnah of any of the Sahaba. It is not the Sunnah of any of the Salafus Salih. It is not the Sunnah of any of the Anbiya. Ibrahim alayhi salam. His kitab is what? Sofa Ibrahim. What did he do? Did he read the book? He lived the book. He traveled the earth. He talked to people. He presented Islam. He built the Kaaba. Musa alayhi salam. Tawrat. What did he do? Sit and read Torah?
He was a warrior. He fought to save his people from Pharaoh. He fought to take the Bani Israel out of Egypt. And then he fought his whole life to do the tarbiyah of his people. What about Nuh alayhi salam? What about Yusuf alayhi salam? He ran a country. What about Dawud alayhi salam? He ran a country. He also made chainmail armor with his hands because Allah gave him this ability. What about Sulaiman alayhi salam? He had a kingdom like nobody else. What about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? So now you say I'm going to sit and read Quran 24/7. I can't say. I won't say it is haram, but definitely not the Sunnah. No one ever did it. Why would you want to do it? How is that going to earn you? If that was the best thing to do, the first person to do that would be Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But this kind of a question comes because of this mistaken understanding of this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent us to be leaders, to show this world how to live their lives in a way which creates a beautiful society, a beautiful environment. And inshallah, if they also accept Islam, then it gets them Jannah. But even if they don't accept Islam, what do you call a society which is based on justice, on compassion, on kindness, on charity, on taking care of each other, on taking care of the environment? Remember, I have not brought the word God into this, right? I am talking about a society which is based on what kind of a society will that be? That would be the most beautiful place on earth. And alhamdulillah, if those people also accept Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla Jalaluhu, then inshallah they will also get Jannah. But even if these principles and these ethics and these values and morals are followed by people who are not Muslim, they will still be able to create a very beautiful society in this world following Islamic principles. So please remove this confusion from your mind. Islam does not prevent you from doing and following any profession, any work in this world, provided that work is positive. Obviously, if you say, well, I want to become the best drug dealer in the world, I want to set up the largest cigarette company in the world, I want to, no. As long as it is something which is positive, Islam does not only does Islam not stop you from following that profession or doing that business, but Islam tells you that is your personal road to Jannah. Right? Now, to give you an example, I want to go from here to Makkah. Right? So, I'm here, I want to get to Makkah. What options do I have? I can walk. Theoretically speaking, I can walk. I can't walk across water yet, but I can take a ship and the rest of the thing. That's one way of getting around. Right? Another way is I can drive, car, motorcycle, whatever, cycling. Also a way to get to Makkah. It'll take me months. Okay, so it takes me. Or I can get a job on board a cargo ship which is crossing the Atlantic. So I also work and make some money, and then I get off there and then I hitch a ride on something else. Maybe I go on a cruise ship. So not only do I get some money, I also get some nice food. Right? Or I do what most people will do, which is I go and book a ticket on Emirates. I get myself a business class ticket and I go in peace and harmony and comfort. Right? Multiple choices. So now if somebody comes and asks you, what do you think I should do? What's the answer? Do whatever you like. Right? Do whatever makes sense to you. Do whatever you enjoy. Do whatever you feel like doing. As long as you are getting to Makkah without robbing and without stealing and without doing something wrong. No problem. If you say, if Aqil Bhai says, I really want to walk all the way, alhamdulillah, no problem. He has the time and energy and so on and so forth. Who is anyone to say that is wrong? It's not wrong. I may not like to do that, but that doesn't make it wrong. So no profession, no business, no nothing is wrong or prohibited in Islam as long as it is halal. Provided it is spreading goodness in the world, that is your personal route to success, your personal route to Jannah. So as I said, like we have a choice when we go, take any means. The means is not the end. As long as that thing takes you to your destination, any means is fine. Then what about the part of the ayah which says, "Innamal hayatu dunya illa mata'ul ghurur"? Why is Allah saying that this world is deception? I'll give you another example. Now, this person who asked me the question is from Perth. So supposing he is in Perth and he wants to get to Makkah and he is flying Singapore Airlines. So he takes off from Perth, the first stop is Singapore. The Singapore Changi Airport is probably the number one airport in the world. It's the most beautiful airport. There is a natural waterfall in it. There is a slice of a rainforest in it. There are all kinds of games and amusements in it. There are beautiful lounges. There are beautiful restaurants. Right? It is an absolutely brilliant airport. So now this person takes off from Perth, comes to Changi's in Singapore, comes to Changi Airport, and he is absolutely fascinated by this airport. He is walking around. He's going to this restaurant, eating here, going to that lounge. He says, "Oh, my fantastic! This is a lovely resting place. I'm going to sleep here for a couple of hours." He sleeps there. He says, "Oh, I must have a shower. Oh, beautiful shower. I have this lovely, bathrobe." After that, he's sitting there. What will you say to him? You tell him, "Boss, all of this is fine, but keep track of your departure time. Right? You have to catch your connecting flight. Don't get lost in Changi. Don't get distracted in Changi. All this rainforest and so on and so forth is fine. But you must catch that flight when the flight is announced. You better be at the gate, not in the lounge somewhere. You better be at the gate." This is the meaning of innamal hayatu dunya illa mata'ul ghurur. Allah did not say leave the dunya. If he wanted to leave the dunya, the question to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, "Yalla, why did you send me here in the first place? I mean, if I'm supposed to leave this, I didn't ask to come here. You sent me here." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "This is Changi Airport. This is a transit stop for you. By all means enjoy it. No problem. I've given you a beautiful airport. By all means, nobody says starve to death. There's a lovely restaurant. Oh, eat good food. You're tired, go lie down, sleep for a while. No problem, right? You want to go and look at the rainforest, you want to go stand under the waterfall, do whatever you like, but keep your eye on the gate. Keep your eye on the gate. وَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. When the time is announced, the flight will take off. You better be on it. In this case, we have no choice. You will be on that flight. The issue is in what condition. So don't get lost in this. Dunya means don't allow the dunya to distract you from your final destination, which is Jannah. So I will enjoy my life in this world, but I will ensure that I will not do anything which compromises that. So somebody says, for business success, you must tell a bit of lies, little bit of exaggeration as far as advertising is concerned is okay, right? Taking some loan on interest is okay. We have to give a bribe to somebody, that's all right. This is the dunya, this is India, this is Pakistan, whatever you want to call it, right? A bribe here, a bribe there, this is part of our life. It's no. It's not part of life. Oh, everyone is doing it. Everyone is not my teacher. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is my teacher. Let everyone do anything. I'm not responsible. Allah did not make me mukallaf on them. Allah did not make them mukallaf on me. Which brings me to the last point, which is, he said, in Australia, we are a minority. One person. What can I do alone? How many people were Nuh alayhi salam? How many people were Ibrahim alayhi salam? How many people were Musa alayhi salam? One. Nuh alayhi salam, individual, one person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us the number, that he preached and he presented Islam to people for 950 years. This is in the Quran. Why does Allah have to count the number of years and tell us? Because there is a message for us, right? 950 years alone. And they say not more than 100 people accepted his message. After 950 years of work, not even 100 people accepted his message. So was he a failure or what? Na'udhu. What was his impact? Because after that the flood came and everything was washed up anyway. So what was the impact? Yeah. Please understand, my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rahmanur Rahim. Allah did not hold you and me responsible for impact. Allah held us responsible for showing up. Allah did not hold us responsible for impact. He held us responsible for showing up. As long as we show up. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, will He ask you about what was happening in Springfield? Or will He ask you about what was happening in your life? Will He ask me about what I did in my life? Or will He ask me what was the people of ISWM doing? I don't care what they're doing. It's not my job. My job is to make sure that I am doing what I am supposed to be doing. The accounting is for the individual. The accounting is not for everybody. Forget about everybody. Accounting is not even for your own near and dear ones. Allah will not question you about your own father and mother. Allah will not question your father and mother about you. So when Allah is only going to question me alone, and when Allah is going to question me about what I did, not about what happened, then why am I bothered? Why am I allowing myself to get distracted by saying, after all my work, I am alone, there is no impact. What do I care? Let there be no impact. When Allah is not asking me about that, why am I bothered about that? Let me make sure that I work to the best of my ability. I'm not working in a way where I don't care about the impact. I care about the impact. I'm trying to do my best. But whether there is impact or not is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah did not put that burden on you. Don't take it on. There's no need. But focus on yourself and say, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I am not supposed to tell lies. Am I telling lies? I am supposed to show up in the masjid for 5 times a day for the first salah. Am I doing that? I am supposed to pay zakat. Am I paying zakat? I am supposed to be good to my brothers and sisters. I'm not supposed to use foul language. If somebody argues with me, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I guarantee a house in the middle of Jannah for the one who gives up the argument even if he is right. Now, final question with the brother asked me, Allah bless him, is the issue of saying that as a normal person, I mean, people use funny language, as if Arabs are abnormal in some way. As a normal person, I don't understand Arabic. So anyone who is understanding Arabic is not normal. I mean, what is that? So he said, as a normal person, I don't understand Arabic. So I have 2 options. One option is videos, internet videos. Second option is translation. I told him, no, you have 3 options. And there is an option before these 2 options, which is learn Arabic. Why is that not an option? You didn't know English. You didn't know English. English is not my mother tongue. But I speak better English than most people. How? It's not magic. I learned English. So whichever language you speak, you learned it. Even if it's your mother tongue, you didn't come out of your mother's womb speaking that language. You learned the language. So learn Arabic. That is, learning Arabic is not only the option, but it is the number 1 option. Learn Arabic. It is the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why on earth would you not want to understand it in its original language? So learn Arabic. And while you are learning Arabic, by all means, refer to translation. By all means, listen, watch videos and so on and so on. But learn Arabic. And the last and not the least and most important is, the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not come for us to sit and recite it. The kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the books of Allah, and especially the Quran, these are what we call field books. These are manuals. These are not storybooks to be read for entertainment. This is a operations manual. You read it and you apply it. Then you see the benefits. If I read a book on gardening, I will not have a garden. No. Now, should I read the book on gardening? Of course, if I don't know how to do it, I need to read the book. So I am not discounting reading the book. But if I just say I'm going to sit and read this book on gardening 24/7, from morning till night, I'm going to make this, I'm going to become half-ish of this book of gardening, big fat book of gardening. I have memorized the whole book from, you can ask me by page number, you can ask me to read it backwards, I can do all of that. At the end of the day, my yard looks like a garbage dump. There is no garden. Even though I am a hafiz of this book of gardening. That book of gardening is not a storybook. It's a manual. It is a field book. It is an operations manual. I have to read it in order to implement it. And that is why we have the story of Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, who took 12 years to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah alone. 12 years. At the end of that, he gave a big walima, he gave a big party. He slaughtered a camel. He called all the people. So they asked him, they said, how come you took 12 years to memorize one surah, which is two and in less than half of the third juz? He said, we used to go to Rasulullah and take 10 ayats. Then we would memorize those ayats. We would reflect on them. If we had any clarifications, we would seek clarification from the Prophet. Then we would implement those ayat in our lives. And when we were satisfied, then we would go for the next 10 ayat. Today we take any Hifz madrasa, especially in our countries, 2 years. If he cannot complete the whole Quran, 30 juz in 2 years, they check him out. The student. Huh? What happened? Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he says, I was in my house, I was pouring wine for my friends, and the other Sahaba were there. Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu was one of them. He said, I was pouring the wine when I heard the announcer of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam calling out the ayah which Allah had revealed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that alcohol or khamr or any intoxicant and gambling of any kind and divining arrows and astrology and feng shui and vastu and all of these kinds of things are the worst. They are the filthiest among the acts of shaitan. I mean, acts of shaitan themselves are filthy. Allah is saying, even among that, these are the worst of them. Leave them. Fajtanibu, don't go near them. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so that you might be successful. What was Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu? What did he say? Oh, mashallah, beautiful recitation of this. Did he say? Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, no. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, I was pouring the drink, I moved my hand. I poured the drink on the ground. I poured out the drink in the glass. He said, my friends who I had already poured the drink for, they threw it on the ground. Somebody had it in his mouth. What did he do? Did he say one last one before the? No. He spat it out. And then the Sahaba took, they used to manufacture alcohol, so they had big vats full of wine. They took those vats and they emptied them in the drains of Medina. And then the interesting thing, they smashed the vats, they broke the vats. Somebody went and told him, they're breaking up the. He called them. He said, why are you wasting the utensils? You can use them. You wash them. After that, you can use them for something else. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we don't even want anything to remind us that we used to disobey Allah. This is the effect of the Quran. People lived by the Quran. And because they lived Islam, it had that huge impact. Massive, massive, massive impact. But when they were living, they were not saying, oh, you know what, am I doing that? How is it going to look on Facebook? How many likes am I going to get? How many thumbs up signs? No. Who's watching? Who's not watching? How will this get to the whole world? I am supposed to, alcohol is made haram on me. I was drinking, I give up. Finished. Khalas. Impact on the world, that is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Was there impact? Yes, there was impact. So this is my message. Please understand that our destination, Our goal, inshallah, is Jannah. The way where we are located is the dunya. The way to get to Jannah is by following the deen. How to follow the deen? According to the sunnah of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How much to follow the deen? Completely. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fi silmi kaffatan wa la tattabi'u khutuwati shaytan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. Allah said, enter into Islam, who you believe, enter into Islam completely and totally, and do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Verily, he is your worst enemy. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu to be pleased with you. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وسقطك من النار. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. لا إله إلا الله.